Illinois Stories is brought to you by the Corporation for Public Broadcasting and by the support of viewers like you. Thank you.
Hello, welcome to Illinois Stories. I'm Mark McDonald in Hamilton, where every year hundreds of kids from all over Hancock County and neighboring Iowa come here for Thresher Days. It's a field day with a whole lot of education. Well, Fred, you got, what, a couple of hundred kids here today?
Yes.
From all over Hancock County.
All over Hancock County, and we've got 10 classes of fourth graders here today, and what we're trying to do is show them how things was done 50, 100 years ago.
And you do this every year, right?
Every year.
Yeah. Day one, you get kids from Hancock County, and day two, you get kids from Iowa.
Right. We want to treat Iowa the same, and they want to come over, and they're real interested, even though Keokuk's a pretty big town compared to Hamilton, but they've been coming over for probably 25 years, and we've been having fourth grade classes, so we'd like to keep it up, and we get a lot of feedback from them, and not only that, we have an annual show the first weekend in August, and a lot of people, the kids will tell their folks, and we want to come back and see what's going on.
Great.
So that's what happens.
So actually, that's how all this got started, right? You started the Western Illinois Threshers show, what, some 40 some years
46
ago?
years
Wow.
ago.
And it was then on your farm, I guess, huh?
Right. We started on my farm. There 6 of us started, got together. We'd been going to Mount Pleasant, Iowa, and we took, well, the last year I think we had 20-some tractors up to Mount Pleasant from down here, and of course 50 years ago, well, that was quite a few, and we decided, sitting down there one day, well, shoot, we're Western Illinois, let's just start up a show down here and show the people how stuff was done years ago.
Yeah.
And so that's what happened. I planted 15 acres of oats on my farm, and we cut them with a binder and shocked them and got them ready to thrash. And we the first year we had about 15 tractors, 2 pickup trucks to haul the oats to the bin, and we had about 500 people came to see what we was doing out here. So that's what started it out.
And then your group got this property north of Hamilton, so you're on 50 beautiful acres up here. You got plenty of space for people to come out.
Right.
And on this day when the kids come out, you actually set up stations for them, and we're going to do this with the kids today. We're going to go from station to station and find out how they learn about the days before everything was mechanized.
That's exactly right, what we're trying to do.
Yep.
We just thought it'd be nice to pick the fourth grade. That's halfway through their grade school, and they was old enough to kind of know what we're talking about. Sometime my wife and I used to do the log cabin all the time, and once in a while we'd tell them, well, we didn't have a bathroom, of course, you know, we had a little path out back, and they didn't know what we was talking about.
Well, you can show them now, right? Now you can show them what it was like.
Yeah.
Well, listen, let's go to station number 1. I'm not sure what that is, but we'll find something interesting.
Okie doke.
Well, Larry, we were talking about the 202 or 250 kids here that are here today.
Yes.
One of the things they get to do, and your wife is busy with them right now, is find out how a family would have lived in this, I guess, the mid-1800s, or?
This is set up to be like 1900 or so.
Oh, 1900.
Now, the other cabin over there has older style of equipment. So instead of the cast iron cooking range, it's a wood-fired, wood-heated range. That one has a fireplace, stone fire hearth.
Oh, the old.
So that's more of an
one.
1850 style.
Yeah.
This is more of a 1900 style,
Okay. But
more modern.
This is out on the prairie, more out on the prairie, though, right? And almost everybody that would have lived in a place like this would have been a farmer.
Yeah, it was probably 90% farmers or so. And of course, a lot of people didn't farm full time. There were a lot more hunting. There's a lot more tanning, and in some cases, I think the tanning, people they tan furs by nailing them to the outside of a cabin. So a lot of the heat and of a cabin, the way the cabin was insulated, was actually sometimes all the furs that were nailed to the outside.
No kidding. When they come into a cabin like this, what do they find most interesting or most different from their experience?
See, just the fact that it's small. It looks different.
Yeah, a whole family lives in this room, right?
Yeah, and this has the loft, which probably should have a railing on it, but a long time ago they sometimes had an arrangement where there would be a log, say, in place of this gap, there would be a short log sticking out, and there would be a stairway that would go up the wall to get to the loft.
Yeah, yeah. I'm wondering that. That's a pretty good climb if you're just going to pull yourself up. Well, Dan Buckert, I understand you got to get some logs ready for the mill.
Right.
Right. So the kids see the manual work first.
Right.
This would be cutting the lengths to the right length.
To the right length, and what I'm showing them is that, you know, they had to go to the timber and cut the trees down before they made boards out of them. So this just gives them a chance to see how much labor it took to cut the trees down.
Yeah, yeah. No, most of these kids don't see this at home, do they?
No, most of these kids have never seen a crosscut saw.
Yeah, yeah.
And you know, they don't understand that you have to work together to get them to cut down.
Yeah. Now, after they get these cut to the right size, then the next thing is to mill them, right?
Right, right.
And you can actually show them out here how they do that.
Right, right. We'll take them down and explain how the sawmill works, and then we'll run a log through and hopefully make some boards out of them.
Yeah, well, good deal. Dan, when you show these kids that process, what kind of reaction do you get?
Amazement. They just don't understand all the moving parts, you know, that goes into it, and it's virtually the same thing they do today, but on a bigger scale today.
Yeah.
You know, this thing was made early 1900s and it's still working. So, you know,
And of course, they never saw, they see a flat board come out, or they've seen flat boards and never even thought probably, how to get that?
yeah, you know, they don't understand that you make 4 cuts before you ever get a board, and then hopefully you get something out of the center of it.
I'm sure they're as fascinated as I was, though, to see your guys actually just be able to stack these 1-inch boards up, stack them up after looking what the
we
source
started
was.
with.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. No, it's amazing, you know, that you can make boards out of anything.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
we've been doing this for, well, since '76, so we've cut a lot of boards.
Hey, thanks.
Yep, thank you.
Paul, I'm willing to bet that these kids, or kids this age, have never seen an old-time printing
You're
press.
true. You're very true.
I bet they don't understand a thing about how it works, do they?
No, they don't. We're here today to try to teach them how it works and why it was invented. And then in 1886, it's by Ottmar and Morgenthaler, and it was to put out a line of type. Before 1886, you had to take each individual letter,
Okay,
and set it.
hold that up for us a little bit.
You had to set it,
Okay.
each one, and so it was much faster to make a line of type and put it in a column and print it. And when you got done with the paper, you'd have to put all these back in the little box. These here, we remelt. It was the first process of
okay.
recycling, really.
Yeah, yeah. So then you just create another one out of that.
There's little brass mats that come down, and it's got the indentation of the letter on the back side, and a hot printer's metal that's in this electric pot here would make a mold with a line of type.
Now, he was just showing them something that he produced out of the machine. Do you know what that was?
Yeah, this was a line of type.
Okay, that is
what
the
he had
line of
just
type.
done.
Okay.
The keyboard is like a typewriter. You press it, and little mats drop down, and it would make a line of type. So now he's going over to the printing press. He cut it off, he put it in a chase, and put it in a printing press, and we're going to print a bookmarker for each one of these kids.
Is that right? So they all get something to take home with
Yeah,
them, huh?
yeah.
With their name on it.
No, with the teacher's name.
The teacher's name. Okay.
Now they can come back
Exactly.
during the show, and we will put their personal name on them. But it's for this many kids, and we only got like 15 minutes.
Yeah,
Come this
yeah.
way around.
Okay, now they're going to go and they're going to go see how the
Yeah.
printing press works.
They're going to have to see how the printing press works.
Terrific. Okay, so now he's got he's using his foot.
Yeah, so
To power
this
this
is a
printing press.
pedal-powered press, and he puts one piece of paper in, and it comes up, and it kisses, and it prints the bookmarker, and it opens it up. He takes one piece of paper out, gives it to the kid, puts another in. And if you go fast enough, you can print 500 pieces an hour.
This would have been very hard work, wouldn't
Oh,
it?
yes, yes.
It still is hard work.
It still is, he says.
Everything old was hard work. So now, we've modernized it
Yeah.
and cost efficient and everything.
That's great. And every kid gets a souvenir to take home. That's
Yeah,
terrific.
yeah.
Okay, thanks a lot.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Okay, Buck, we just had a group of school kids come over to the railroad, and you've got quite a layout here. You got a caboose, and you got a depot, and you got this, whatever this is called. They're
That's
called
a motor
short
car
line?
train.
A motor car train. Okay.
Motor car train.
And how do you organize the kids? What do you do next?
We split them up to 12 children can ride the back car. 2 gets on the engine with the engineer. The rest goes in the caboose and listens to Mr. Cross. He talks about the caboose, the functions of it. And then after they make one round, they come back, they unload. We put part of them in the depot, and they'll talk about what the depot is. The control box is in there, the signal's outside.
I'm sure that this is the most popular, though. This little ride is the most popular, isn't it?
we during kids' day, school days and at our show, when we have our show the first part of August, it gets a lot of running.
How is this thing powered?
It's got a 4-cylinder Waukesha motor in it.
Now,
We got a mile of track.
You got a mile of track?
Mile
Wow.
of track.
And is the track historic in any way? I mean, is it a real short line railroad track? Is it?
It came from 3 different railroads. It came from the TP&W, Toledo, Peoria, and Western Railroad. It came also from Burlington Northern, and it come from the KJ, Keokuk Junction Railroad. We was able to get rails and tie plates. We got ties from the Santa Fe and the Burlington Northern to help build it. It took us 6 years to build it.
Did it really?
Yeah.
And you guys all did. You
we
did
built
it
a
all
bridge.
yourself?
Yeah. There was about probably 8 that was really dedicated to the railroad, and then we had a lot of other of our members of the Threshers to come out and help us when we built the bridge down there. They helped build it.
You guys are really handy because most of the stuff was moved here by your own people, right? I mean,
yeah.
this
Oh,
is
we
not the
hauled
kind of-
ties from all over the country. We hauled rail from all over. We went and tore old rail apart all over the country.
I
And
hope
hauled
you
it in.
asked permission first.
Oh yeah, we always had our releases from them, and
Oh, it's a terrific experience.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it really is. And that's got to be a pure joy for those kids
Oh,
to be
yeah.
able to go around. And it's roughly circular, huh? It's,
yeah, it
oval.
runs a circle. It's an oval. Yeah.
Yeah, a mile
A mile
ride. That's
It's
terrific.
a mile ride.
You guys are really something. Well, listen, we also want to see these other facilities.
Okay.
Can we go into Caboose
Yeah, we can go
next?
into Caboose.
Well, Buck, I'm willing to bet that none of these kids has been in a caboose before.
I bet they haven't. No. No.
What's he working with them on? What's he want them to
He's
understand about
he's telling them what this is for. There was 2 people that rode back here. You had a conductor rode back here, and you had a brakeman that rode back here. The brakeman would give signals to the head end up on the engine to the other brakeman. And when he was talking about being highball, that means go. He would tell him to go. But the conductor was actually the one that's maintaining the train and telling them what to do. They had a phone set up where they could talk back and forth to the head end. Now they use radios.
Yeah.
But he's telling them what this, then he'll show them what that line is on the floor up where you pull, and that sets the air. If there's an emergency,
Okay.
he would tell them that.
Is that a stove that I see in here?
Yeah,
too?
there's
So
a
that
stove
was
up
the way
there.
They kept it heated. Huh?
That's how they kept it heated. Here's the refrigerator.
there's
You
a
had a
fridge
cooler
in the
there.
back, okay.
They needed to take a nap. You had a bed there.
No kidding.
And there was a wet, dry bathroom up there in that one closet. Then there's a fuel tank up there that was inside for that stove.
Do kids still love trains?
Oh yeah. Oh, when we have our show in August. We've got little Lionel trains in the depot. We run 2 of them. They just go nuts over them. Yeah.
Some things never change.
Yeah.
Kids love trains.
Yeah.
Okay, Buck, when they leave the caboose, they come into the depot, and you all have made gone to a lot of trouble to move this depot here from Bushnell.
From
right?
Bushnell, Illinois, yeah.
And it's still outfitted largely the way it was then.
The only thing that has been done to it, we painted it, and everything else is original. What he's talking about there, that is a CTC control panel. That's how you handle trains. It was on its way to the Transportation Museum in Kansas City, and we was able to get it. The gray box up here is a swing span control for the Fort Madison Bridge.
Is that right?
And we was able to get it. It was on its way to the National Museum in St. Louis. And we
So it was really from right around
yeah,
here as well.
right up Fort Madison,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah. Very interesting. And how long was this in Bushnell? I mean, it was,
From 1939, it was in Bushnell till 1982 when we got it here.
so they just outgrew it. They didn't need
Well,
it anymore.
they didn't.
just didn't have
the,
any
the
training.
railroad had been bought out by the Burlington North, by the Santa Fe, and so they shut it down. And we bought it, and then that's when the president of the TP&W told us if we would restore this depot, he would sell us this caboose out here for $1. So we had to move it, but then he threw another kink at us. The Burnside depot, this is the white one down here.
Yeah.
He said, I want to see that gingerbread up in the top of the cupola of that. He said, and I want to see that all restored. He said, I'll give you that one if you'll do that. So we moved it down here too. That's how we've got 2
So you got the
depots.
caboose for $1, and you got the other one for nothing.
Nothing. And this one cost us $1,250.
$1,250.
Yeah.
Three for one. That's a pretty
Yeah.
good deal, isn't it?
But that's original desk. This is the original thing. This was over on the other wall. We just moved it over here. This is original desk underneath here. This is where we run them little Lionel trains. And them kids that we actually have to put a glass up here to keep the little hands.
Because they want to touch, don't they?
Oh, they want to
They
touch.
want to touch. Wow.
But,
Yeah. It's priceless because, I mean, this is what they call living history. You bring kids
Oh,
in here
yes.
and
Yes.
they never get a chance to see this
No.
any other way. Okay, Matthew, these kids have only seen corn and corn flakes or corn on the cob, right?
Right.
But there's a lot more to it than that.
You bet. Yeah, so very labor-intensive job before they had the combine machine to husk and pick the corn. They had to do that by
Go
hand.
ahead and show us how it's
So
done.
one of the things they wore was what they called a husking hook. They wore that on their hand, and they would use that to rip open the shucks of the corn so they could get their hand in there, break it off, and throw that into the wagon.
Okay.
So,
that in the field, this gets thrown into the wagon. Then you take it back to the barn where you've got the, what's it called, the sheller?
Yeah, you take that back, you scoop your wagon off into the corn crib, and then during the winter you can run this corn cob through the sheller and get the actual kernels of corn shelled off of the cob.
Oh, I
So
see.
you've got the cob there, and we'll end up with some shelled corn.
Okay. And the cobs, this gets used for all kinds of things on a farm.
Yeah, there
I
was a
guess,
lot
doesn't
of uses. You never wasted anything
Yeah.
on the farm, the husks, the cobs.
it? Okay. And now, and then what they see here is when they come, they see how the tractor or whatever actually got to
Right.
grind it, right?
Right.
Let's take a look at that process.
This is called a stone burr mill. There's 2 stones inside the machine. One is stationary, one is moving, and grinds the corn up. The scratch goes into the buckets, the hard outside of the kernel. They would feed that to any animal that had a gizzard. Again, it didn't go to waste. You've got the clean cornmeal, then it comes out, finished product.
Yeah. These kids probably have never seen cornmeal before. Many of them haven't anyway.
Well, they all are interested in having some cornbread, so we usually give them a bag when their teacher can make. So.
Maybe for lunch they'll get some
Yeah.
cornmeal today, huh? But you pass that around, then they all get a chance to
Yeah,
look
they
at
all
it.
get
And
to
run
taste a little
run it through
pinch
their
of it if they
fingers.
want.
Yeah. And what's their response to tasting it usually?
Most of them say kind of dry and gritty.
As you notice, as he shears this sheep, it'll be dark on the outside and light underneath. That's because wool grows from the inside out. So the wool on the outside has been there for a full year because you shear them once a year.
Oh, is that right? Just once a year?
Once a year.
Wow.
So the wool will grow from the inside out. So what's on the outside's been there for a full year, and it's had a year to collect all the dirt and the dust and everything else in the air.
Yeah. So these sheep, I mean, they're not accustomed. They don't get used to being sheared if it's just once a year. They're probably hard to handle, aren't they?
The sheep, well, they're a pretty docile animal once you get used to it, you know. They'll run from you, but once you get a hold of them, they just give up.
Yeah.
It's like if
even though they're big and heavy, they don't put up a big fight.
Right. It'd be like if you was wrestling around on your living room floor with a big guy, and then once he got you all wrapped up and pinned you, you just give up.
Does this make them more comfortable?
Yes. Otherwise, it'd be like them wearing their winter coat all summer. It's like I tell the kids, if they had to wear their winter coat, it'd be like wearing your winter coat in July and August when you wanted to be in the pool instead of...
How do you clean the wool?
Basically, it all gets sent off. He'll process it, and they send it off to a processing center. He sells it. Actually, the last of it he sold went to Ohio to get processed.
And when you tell kids, you know, why do you shear sheep? Are they interested in what products they might get from it? Or?
Yeah, and most of them do know that you can get, you know, the socks and your coats and scarves and blankets and things like that out of it.
So they like sheep, and they like the products that come from sheep.
Yeah,
huh?
yeah. They get, as you can tell, they get a good kick out of seeing all the. There's some parts where they.
Oh, I know, but that's farm life, isn't it?
Yep.
Well, that's wonderful. They would never get a chance to see this any other way. He's good too. The shearer is really good.
He's had a few years practice. He's got about 100 head at home. He does every year. So.
Sue, one of your buildings here is a permanent building with a nice concrete floor, and you use this for, one of the things you use it for is to show the kids how the women would have worked on the farm or around the 1900s or so.
Yep. Actually, 1900s through the Depression. All of this would have been relevant during that time. And then I think the big thrashing machines coming across from Kansas to here and everything. So yeah, it's very pertinent to the area. So let's want to walk around and see what's going on.
Let's start. Would this be a place to start?
This could be a place, nice place to start.
Describe to me what we got.
Well, right here we have one of our ladies that's been here for many, many years.
Should we say how many?
I'm not quite sure how many. I've been here for 37 and she's been here longer.
Have you really?
Yes.
37, Thresher Day, 37 years
37.
for Thresher Day.
Well, actually, this is our 47th anniversary for Threshers, but my husband and I got married in 77. My cousin came to our house and said, okay, if you live on this road, you need to be a member of Threshers. So we got married and joined Threshers the same month.
Well, it's just a natural if you're in Hamilton. Huh?
Yes, this is Myrtle Sewell, and she's displaying the shuttle that makes rugs. And most of these boys and girls think that a rug just comes from the store. Well, she's showing them that old blue jeans can be used to make a rug.
Is that what she did here? She's got old jeans.
Yes, these are made from old blue jeans. Different fabric put in there for accent, but most of it's just basically old jeans.
And then she shows them an example of what it comes out looking like.
Yes.
Perfect.
Yes. And that would have been someone's dress, now made into a rug.
Okay, and this was a rug. What's the right term for it? A rug?
Rag rug.
Rag rug. Okay. Rag rug.
They tear the strips, whether it's material or jean material. And we can show you that right up here.
Let's take a look.
And
okay.
Okay, now.
So we're working our way backwards,
We're going backwards.
Okay, well that's okay.
That's fine. She is sewing the long, long strips together. And then that's what's used over there to make the rug. But in the meantime, you've got to roll up nice sized balls like this. And I have known Fred Booker to be a good one to roll these up in the wintertime for his wife.
Is that right?
Yes.
Those long winter nights, just roll.
Those long winter nights.
And roll.
This is probably jeans off of 10 or 15 people here.
Is that right?
Rolled up.
Could you make a rug out of that much material?
No.
No?
2.5.
Not even a throw, huh?
At least 3 balls. At least 3?
3 balls.
Okay, I said 2.5.
3 balls for one of the small rugs like this?
They told me about this size of ball.
Okay. I've always heard about the size of your head times 3. And this was the very first rug that was made here at Western Illinois Threshers, and it was 1989.
Uh-huh.
And so, in 1989, is when Myrtle and her husband, Calvin, learned how to use the shuttle to start making the rugs. So she's been making them for quite a few years here. So.
She learned that's an old piece of equipment, though,
Right,
isn't it?
and we have 2 more back here underneath the quilts. Plus, we have 1 other one in storage. So we're set for.
You sure are.
For
if one goes down, you've got a replacement, huh?
Right, and so a good example of a finished one of olden days, Mark, would be this one.
Oh, okay, all right.
This one was, I'm not going to say my age, but my great-great-grandmother made this, and it is all hand sewn.
Mm-hmm. Do you ladies do any quilting here?
Oh yes, they quilt every week.
Is that right?
Yep, they quilt every week.
And they come here in this building and they set
In the
up
wintertime, they go to one of the members' homes, and in the warmer months, come here.
Do they ever sell the quilts to help fund Threshers?
We do 2 ways of doing the quilts. There's 2 quilts made a year. One is a raffle quilt, which we have a huge crowd come on Saturday night during our show, because the quilt raffle is one of the big events. And then on Sunday, one of them, that one is auctioned off, the one on Saturday, and then the one on Sunday is a raffle one.
I see.
And I bought many tickets and never won one.
And never won one.
No,
You're just going to have to sneak off with one sometime.
Well, I'm starting a quilt right now that I'm working on. So.
Okay, let's see if we can see what's going on here.
Okay, let's see. And this is Mrs. Fred Bookert, who's as one of the founders too. And she is showing the difference of some are appliqued, some are embroidered, some are pieced together. And she's showing them a little bit on embroidery, because most of the kids aren't familiar with that.
No, of course not. They never would have, unless their mom, has it as a hobby
their
or
mom
something.
or their grandma.
But they are learning to understand that everything in the home was made.
Yes.
You just didn't go out and buy anything.
You didn't go to the store. You did not go to the store. My husband has a story about his grandparents they lived 7 miles from town, and in the winter she needed something from the store. Instead of putting water back in the Model T and going to town, he said, "Oh shoot, I'll just walk." That would have been 14 miles.
Wow.
Yes. But she's also showing, these pieces of little tiny pieces are put together then into different, and it starts out with, little pieces. There's a lot of cutting. And then for the quilts, they use this book as for the pattern of what they're going to do for the embroidery or the actual quilting part. And you can see that more from the back of this one. And I could not venture to say how many quilts she has made. But,
Thank you.
yes.
These demonstrations and a lot more can be seen this year at the annual Western Illinois Thresher Days, August 2nd, 3rd, and 4th in Hamilton. With another Illinois story in Hamilton, I'm Mark McDonald. Thanks for watching.
Illinois Stories is brought to you by the Corporation for Public Broadcasting and by the support of viewers like you. Thank you. For a DVD copy of the program you've just seen, send $19.95 to Network Knowledge, P.O. Box 6248, Springfield, Illinois 62708. Be sure to include the program name, subject, and when the program aired. You can also order with your credit card by calling 800-232-3605.